And anytime this topic comes up, I pause and I remind everyone that NFL contracts are unlike 99% of the other contracts that exist between anyone, two sides, because they're not two-way contracts. The player is bound to the team for as long as the team wants the player to be bound to the team. The team sits back, folds its arms, and says, sorry, you're under contract. And how many times do we see guys who have outperformed the contract, like a Trey Hendrickson in Cincinnati? Sorry, you're under contract. You agreed to the contract. Why'd you sign the contract? But the team can rip it up whenever it wants. The only question is, what kind of impact is that going to have on our salary cap? What kind of money are we going to owe him? We're not required to employ him. We can tear it up anytime we want, but he's required to work for us, and he can work for no one else. It's really not equal, and it's not fair. And the teams that refuse to guarantee beyond the first year, it does make it harder to operate. And maybe Seahawks fans are just happy because they won their Super Bowl back in 2013, and they're not going to clamor for change. But it's one of the things where other teams do it, Devin. If the Seahawks don't, you're not going to get the guys who have alternatives. And I think you mentioned Sam Darnold not drawing that line in the sand with the Seahawks. This was the best he had. This was it. And I also think they set it up before they traded. Now, I'm not accusing anyone of tampering. I'm accusing everyone of tampering. I think they set up the Sam Darnold thing before they agreed to trade Geno Smith, even though that was days before they were allowed to talk to him. There's no way they're trading their starting quarterback without knowing that they have an acceptable deal in place for his replacement. I don't think any team would have done that.
No doubt about it. And that's where, for Sam, you wish that you could find someone that gets in those back channels as well. And that's why, again, I always say it is so important for players to communicate and talk during anything that's going on, free agency, draft, like whatever it is, having conversations with other players that let you know what's going on and how it'll impact you kind of creates a way where, like you just said, the team has all the leverage. It's going to always be hard for the player to flip that. And I think that's always kind of the terms, like we need to flip. Like that's going to be hard. It's damn near impossible. But what you do have is you have a way to communicate. That's not tampering. That's not anything. You can always text each other, call each other. You can always do that. So again, I'm not one of the former players that sit here and get mad about it. I think it's business. I think it's a good job by Seattle if that's what you can do, as long as you can win. And like you said, if you can keep your fan base happy and run a team, ultimately, I don't think, and we always talk about, I know you always hit on it, everybody's goal isn't to always win a Super Bowl year in and year out. That's not what everybody's trying to do. But as a fan, if you go and you give your money and you support, you want to see your team pushing towards that. So if they're not, it's up to the fan bases and people to call it out and try to get teams to move in a different direction. But to Seattle's credit, they haven't been kind of this team that's just at the bottom of the barrel year in and year out. They've been competitive, and they've been there doing it the way that they've done it, and went to back-to-back Super Bowls, only won one. Shout out Super Bowl 49 for the Patriots, but they've been a successful team and a successful organization.
That came out of nowhere. That came out of nowhere. It felt forced, but it wasn't. You just saw the opportunity and you grabbed it. It's like, hey, I'm wandering into this neighborhood and I'm grabbing it. One last thing. You made me think of one of the pressure points between the most recent NFLPA regime led by DeMaurice Smith and agents. Because one of the things that Smith tried to get the agents to do was collude. The players and the agents are allowed to collude. The agents are so competitive and they all want to one-up each other, and they make their deals look better than they are so they can use them as recruiting tools, and they recruit against each other, and it's a cutthroat, nasty business. But the union wanted them to work together because the teams can't collude. The players can. And case in point, I was thinking about this earlier today, how Athletes First last year played the Dolphins against the Packers on the Jordan Love and Tua Tagovailoa negotiations and got both of them over $50 million a year. And they played those two teams against each other all offseason long until it was time to put pen to paper. Think of the power that the players would have if all agents behaved that way. If all agents maximized and amplified and magnified their leverage by working together to put the teams in the worst possible situation and to focus on the teams that don't guarantee money beyond the first year. There's a lot of power there. The challenge is getting the agents to be willing to come together and use it.
And the players can force that. The agent works for you. You can choose a different agent if they don't agree with what you're saying and how you want to go about the business. So I remember years ago when I was in the safety market, and it felt like teams are trying to drive the safety market down, and guys who were veterans who had good years, the offers weren't out there. It was offers to like maybe the top 2 or 3 guys, and then it was just low. And I remember being at a conference and all the safeties exchanging numbers and texting each other and talking about it. What's the offer you got? What did you get? And that helped guys get better contracts. So I think players could easily tell their agent, like, no, I want to know what so-and-so is about to get paid. Well, I don't have that information. You need to go find it. I'm gonna find his number to try to get in contact with him and ask him if his agent can talk to your agent, and we're gonna do this and make sure we get it done, because that's the way you change it. Like, the players have the leverage as a collective when it comes to negotiating which team you go to and all of that. But unless you come together, like, you're battling against 32 guys. I know the Packers are different, but 32 owners that are really good at business. And that's what we've continued to see throughout the time of the NFL and the Players Association and all those things.
Players negotiate 1, 2, 3 contracts over the course of their careers. The teams negotiate all of them over and over and over again. And now I know what happened yesterday. When your agent told you your contract doesn't require you to fill in today, you said to your agent, "You work for me. I'm going to do it. I don't care that you're recommending that I don't. I'm going to do it." Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.